take good care of my mom. You have plenty of free time as a housemaker, don't you? With these words, my husband, Kyrie, delegated care of his mother who had been living with us to me. But one day, I received a frantic phone call from Kyrie's brother's wife, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. What are you doing? Kyrie's mom's funeral has already started. Huh? Kyrie's mom's funeral? But she is right next to me. Wait. Then who is this person? I confronted my husband, and what I discovered was beyond shocking. My name is Maya. I'm a 32-year-old homemaker, married to Kyrie, a company owner. I met him through a friend, and was drawn to his gentle demeanor. We started dating, and things progressed smoothly, leading to our marriage. We don't have children yet, but I love kids, and study about parenting daily. I enjoy learning, with the hope of being ready for parenthood, whenever it happens. Initially, Kyrie and I lived in a slightly large apartment, anticipating that our family would grow. I diligently managed the household chores, while he worked hard. It was a modest but fulfilling newlywed life. However, one day, Kyrie's words cast a shadow over our happiness. A while after getting married, he approached me with a request to let his mother live with us. He said, living alone at her age is worrying, and I want her to live with us. We have some extra rooms, and it should work out. His mother required care due to her age, and she had seldom gone out for a while. Since we didn't have a wedding, and didn't have any events, like family gatherings, I had never met her directly. A distant and needing care person, suddenly moving in, could we make this work? However, it was Kyrie's request, and she is part of our family, so I agreed to his request. Melanie, I was looking forward to having you here, I said when she moved in. I consciously tried to appear friendly, and greeted her. Even so, she gave me a cold look and, led by Kyrie, entered home. I felt deflated and anxious, but she is going to live with us now, and we had to make it work. I made a fresh resolution to start living with Kyrie's mother. To support her needs, for meals, dressing, and other care, we hired a caregiver. My direct interactions with Melanie were occasional times when the caregiver wasn't present. I was anxious about how it would go because I had no experience in caregiving. However, thanks to the professional caregiver, there were no major issues, and new life with Melanie went smoother than expected. Meanwhile, our relationship, Kyrie's and mine, had been deteriorating gradually around the time Melanie moved in. The cause was our inability to have a child, despite being married for a while. Both Kyrie and I desired children, but it just wasn't happening. It seemed to be frustrating him, and he had started treating me with increasing coldness. If you can't have a child, at least take great care of my mom, he said, looking at me with an icy stare, as he tried to shift all of Melanie's care onto me. Furthermore, he unilaterally canceled the caregiver, claiming it was a waste of money. I had no experience or knowledge of caregiving, and it was nearly impossible for me to handle all of her care by myself. I at least wanted him to help. So, I approached him. It's going to be difficult to take care of your mother alone if we cancel a caregiver. If you can, I want you to help with her care too. I tried to find the right time, when his mood seemed stable, so as not to provoke him. Given that she's his own parent, it should be reasonable to request that he also assist in caring for Melanie. However, when he heard those words, his face turned bright red with rage. You would be more than enough to take care of that person. You're a stay-at-home wife with no kids. You have plenty of free time, right? I'm busy with work, don't be so demanding. He shouted at me, referring to his own mother as a that person. His transformation shocked me, and I was left speechless and frozen in place. While I was still in shock, he stormed off somewhere. Following that day, there were several evenings when he came home late, perhaps a manifestation of his unwillingness to take care of his mother. Before we got married, he had a kind personality, and we rarely had any arguments or conflicts. Yet, it seemed that not being able to have a child could cause such a dramatic change in a person. Even though the cause of not having a child might not be solely my fault, I felt disappointed in him and began to wonder if there might be another reason for his behavior. With him spending little time at home, I suspected he might be having an affair. In secret, I hired a private investigator to look into his fidelity. With our relationship strained, and me handling both Melanie's care and household chores on my own, I had many unresolved concerns. Then, one day, as I sat down with Melanie, after finishing the housework, I received a phone call from Kyrie's brother's wife. That would once again shock me. Yes, hello? Hey, Maya, what are you doing? Kyrie's mom's funeral is about to start. She spoke in a hushed and urgent tone, delivering this news that left me shocked once again. In an instant, I couldn't comprehend what was being said to me. Huh, a funeral? She is sitting right next to me, having tea. What are you talking about? She passed away in the care home 3 days ago. You mean, you haven't heard from Kyrie? Living in a care home? Passed away 3 days ago? A funeral? But she is sitting right next to me, casually sipping tea? I couldn't grasp the situation, and the information I was being given made no sense. Despite my confusion, I felt I needed to confirm something, so I asked her on the phone, "Do you know any distinctive features of Kyrie's mom? Facial characteristics, or anything that can help distinguish her from others?" My anxious demeanor seemed to have alerted her to the seriousness of the situation, and she responded, in a somewhat calmer manner than before, "Well, she has a large scar on her forehead. It's from when she fell a few years ago." A scar on her forehead. I glanced briefly at Melanie, sitting next to me. However, there was no scar on her forehead. No. There's no such scar. This person isn't Kyrie's mother. The real Kyrie's mom has passed away. Then who is this person? The elderly woman I believe to be my husband's mother is, in fact, not my husband's mother. The real Kyrie's mom passed away 3 days ago. So, who is this old lady? What is the meaning of this thick-skinned nerve that continues to pretend to be my mother-in-law, with a straight face, even though she's not the real one, and casually sips tea? Maya, are you listening? Hey, Maya. From the other end of the still-connected phone, I could hear her calling me. However, in this situation, and the fear I felt towards the old woman in front of me, I was in a complete panic. Help me. The conversation with Kyrie's brother's wife, the news about Kyrie's mother's funeral, everything escaped my mind. I couldn't think of anything, and in that state of mind, I rushed to the nearby police station. Please help. My husband's mom isn't my real husband's mom. She's someone else, but she's been living with me, pretending to be my husband's mother. What should I do? Who is she? Okay, calm down. Let's start with some slow, deep breaths. In a state of panic and confusion, the police officer gently reassured me. As I had burst into the police station. Following their advice, I took several deep breaths, which helped me regain some composure. After getting my emotions under control, I explained the situation again, detailing that the elderly woman I had been living with, believing her to be my husband's mother, was actually not the real one. I had only learned about my real mother-in-law's passing from relatives, and I was now in the dark about who the woman living with me really was. Her eerie composure and behavior had made me frightened and drove me to the police station. The police officer who listened to my story, though bewildered, was empathetic and provided assistance. I understand the situation, but, anyhow, It's essential to hear the circumstances from your husband." With those words, the police officer called my husband on his phone and explained that I was at the police station regarding his mother and that he should come and pick me up. About an hour later, Kyrie arrived at the police station and apologized to the officers. "I'm sorry for causing trouble. I'll talk to my wife now." "Understood. Please explain everything to your wife and have a good conversation together." We were seen off by the concerned police officer, and we left the police station. During the walk back home, neither of us spoke a word, as we didn't even know where to begin with the questions. When we arrived home and confirmed that Melanie was resting in her room, I gathered my courage and asked him, "Hey, who is the woman we've been living with? Is it true that your real mother has passed away?" In response to my question, he calmly explained the truth, and what he told me was unbelievable, leaving me in a state of shock. First, the elderly woman living with us now was, as I suspected, not his real mother. She's the chairman of a major business partner of his company. Although she has officially retired, she still wields significant power, and Kyrie, in his role as a business owner, can't go against her. She has no spouse or relatives, and has lived alone for a long time. While that was fine when she was healthy, as she grew older and needed care, living alone became challenging. However, there was no one available to provide her with care, and she was quite worried about it. She casually mentioned this during a conversation with my husband. Hearing her words, Kyrie saw it as an opportunity to strengthen the relationship with the company she chaired, and volunteered to take care of her for the sake of scoring points. In other words, he had lied to me, making me believe she was his mother and having me take care of her. "I can't believe it. You had me take care of a complete stranger? Even dressing and toiletting?" I exclaimed in anger upon discovering this shocking truth. My husband responded with a smirk and said, "That's right. But didn't you want to take care of children? Taking care of a baby or an elderly person who can't move much, it's all pretty similar, isn't it?" I was left speechless, overwhelmed by shock and anger at his dismissive tone and words. Apparently oblivious to my emotional state, he didn't even try to hide his expression, shifting from a mocking grin to a more irritated expression as he continued, "More importantly, going to the police over something like this. You're making such a fuss just because you were lied to a bit. Don't ever pull an unreasonable stunt like this again." He shouted at me, and I stared at him in disbelief, unable to comprehend his attitude. I couldn't understand how he could think that lying about a complete stranger and pretending she was a part of the family was just a little white lie. He simply said what he wanted to and left the scene, showing no concern for me whatsoever. Stunned by his selfish words and left speechless, I watched him walk away, feeling utterly fed up with him. It was clear that I had reached the end of my patience with Kyrie, and I made the decision to divorce him. A few days later, I received the results of the infidelity investigation I had requested from the private investigator. The results confirmed that Kyrie was indeed having an affair. His mistress was the daughter of the president of a company in a business partnership with his company. Upon learning the truth of his infidelity, a mix of resignation and deep sadness over the betrayal welled up inside me, and I quietly shed tears. Just as I was planning to broach the subject of divorce based on this report, he surprisingly came forward with a request for a divorce. "Since the secret with Melanie is out, there's no use for someone who can't have children. Let's get a divorce." His words, delivered with an attitude that looked down on me and implied that I was only worth as much as producing children or providing care, infuriated me. But I managed to hide my anger and, inwardly smiling, agreed to his request for a divorce. "That's perfect. I was thinking of suggesting it too. Let's get a divorce." Kyrie, unaware of my scheme, didn't show any signs of changing his attitude, as if divorce was something to be expected. We both signed the divorce papers, and it was finalized without any issues. I had been left with unpleasant memories of the days spent with my ex-husband and the old woman stuck in this home. I wanted to leave this place, filled with those bad memories, as soon as possible. I moved out and started living on my own. Just when I was thinking about what to do next, I received a message from someone. He was a co-owner of the company my ex-husband managed. He prefaced the conversation by saying it wasn't something he should discuss with me as Kyrie's ex-wife, but he wanted to consult me about Kyrie's bad behavior. He explained that the company might go bankrupt if things continued like this, and that they needed to remove Kyrie from the board of directors to protect the company and its employees. He asked if I had any information that could help in this regard. So, with a smile, I replied, "Of course, I do." I was already in the process of claiming damages from my ex-husband and his affair partner, so I decided to proceed with a plan to oust my ex-husband with the cooperation of this co-owner. I informed him about Kyrie's affair with the president's daughter of a cooperating company, his pretending the chairwoman to be his mother for caregiving from me, and that these incidents led to our divorce. The co-owner, setting aside his own agenda, sympathized with me and said, "You've been through a lot." Subsequently, I initiated claims for alimony from both my ex-husband and his affair partner. He was taken aback because he apparently didn't think his affair had been discovered. However, he might have found it too bothersome to drag it into a lawsuit, so he surprisingly paid the alimony without much resistance. The compensation I claimed, an amount of 30 grand, didn't appear to be a significant sum for Kyrie as a company owner. He paid it in full along with his affair partner's share. Next, the co-owner went to Kyrie's affair partner's company to expose the truth. He negotiated for a peaceful resolution by changing their president, and Kyrie was put in a situation where he had no choice but to accept. This incident quickly spread within the relatively small company. He soon found himself under suspicion from all the employees, making the atmosphere uncomfortable. Eventually, he decided to escape from the company. He tried to find a new job with the help of some acquaintances who were business owners. However, due to his prior bad behavior and the widespread rumors, it seems no one was willing to hire him. Now, Kyrie has lost not only his job and social standing, but also his wife and affair partner. He's likely living a lonely and difficult life. But that's not my concern anymore. As for me, I put the child-rearing knowledge I had been steadily acquiring to good use. I earned a childcare certification and began working as a babysitter in a new environment. I'm enjoying my life, interacting with children I adore, and embarking on a new journey.